Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cicerino back here for Hit or Quit. And never before have we had a show that more fits in the category of is it a hit it or quit it than today, as I am back here with my amazing co-host, of course, Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
I'm so good, Rob. I feel like, we've been podcasting together for a little while, getting real
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. I feel like we trust each other and the
Yes.
vibe is right. And I feel like
Yes.
we're looking across like the podcast feed and we're like, hey, uh, Kirsten McInnes from Hot Dummies on Islands. Like, we really
Yes.
like your vibe. And we're wondering if you would like to podcast with us.
Really like your energy. Would
I
you like
feel
to
like,
join this relationship?
oh my God, I have glitter in my stomach. I feel so
Oh my
honored to
God, I
be
can't believe you said
here.
that.
Do you need some Imodium for the glitter, the sparkles in your tummy?
All right, we're talking about the brand new show on the Peacock. It's From Couple to Thruple.
Yes, and we couldn't do it alone. We had
Sing
to,
the
we
bell
had to bring in
again,
a
Rob.
third.
3 times. For
Three
Couple
times.
to Thruple, where we are going to go into the world of ethical non-monogamy, where we are going to meet a bunch of couples that are looking for a third, what they will choose from a bunch of sexy singles here on, I'd say this is an island, but Kirsten, that these people, are we saying they're dummies?
I would say they're dummies. I
Mm-hmm.
would
At least a
certainly
few,
say
right?
Yeah.
that. A lot of them are dummies. This show is giving Temptation Island vibes, except for the couples don't get split up to date separately. They're
Yeah.
just dating together.
Yeah, I have some
Messier.
notes for the producers of From Couple to Thruple, and we'll talk about all that today. Is it couple? Is it couple to
It's
thruple
just
or
couple to
from?
thruple.
Okay, okay,
In my calendar, I was giving it C2T, like C the number 2. That they don't put 2 in the title. I did, that was a stylistic choice of my own. Couple to Thruple is the name of the show.
okay.
Beautiful.
There you go. Couple to Thruple on Peacock, and so we're gonna talk about it's. They dropped a week of episodes, 3 hours, hour-long episodes here. Guess you got to drop them in threes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would be wrong if it was anything less.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's just the way you have to do it. But I did see that the finale is like is its own episode. So I think
A
they
single.
do
Hate when they do that.
2 or 3 drops of 3, and then so does that mean something? Are they sending a message that like everyone's gonna go home single?
Well, they said you might find you have
Even the
different
couples are gonna break out?
desires from your
Everyone.
partner, and you might leave alone. They
Yeah.
we were told that
Yeah.
at the very beginning.
They warned
Okay.
us.
Well, we're going to talk about everything that's going on here with these first 3 hours of Couple to Thruple, and talk about everything that goes on. If you want to just come along with us for this ride, this is going to be a lot of fun. Or if you watch the whole series, we've got something for everybody here today on Couple to Thruple. Last time out, if you missed it, Jenny and I talked about Farmer Wants a Wife. Farmer Wants a Wife, not nearly as interesting as Couple to Thruple.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's like almost the antithesis of Couple to Thruple is Farmer Wants a Wife, or vice versa. Like, totally. I feel like they're just for shows for very different people.
Very
But
different people.
I have a very important
Yeah.
question though. Is Couple to Thruple like gardening or no?
Good question.
I think definitely there's like sowing of seeds, and
Yes.
there's
know.
different
Yeah.
multiple different crops
Some of the
being
same
planted
tools.
simultaneously.
Mhm.
But you know what? I was even saying when we discussed Farmer Wants a Wife last week, Rob, I was saying like, in these other countries where they've somehow had 200 marriages and over 500 babies, like, were there multiple wives? And so maybe these shows
perhaps.
are more similar than I realized, and we just haven't seen it on the US version of Farmer Wants
Kirsten,
a
is
Wife
there
yet.
any international versions of Couple to Thruple that you know of?
I've never heard of it, and I think I
No
certainly would
Canadian couple to
have.
throuple Canada.
They would never. It took them until like 2020 to have Bachelor in Paradise Canada.
Here's the problem though, because when we do someday try, adopt couple to throuple as a show format and do it, in our own way, it will be a problem because we have Canada it's a big country, but it's a small country. And we've already had so many issues on Big Brother Canada of people knowing each other or knowing someone who knows someone. Like, how many times have just, podcasters or people in the community had a personal link to someone that's been on the show literally every season. So I think you try to do couple to throuple in Canada. First of all, the pool is going to be just like, it's going to be smaller to start. And then it's going to get messier because there's going to all of a sudden accidentally be someone's second cousin. Like, and it's like, then it becomes a whole different show. And we don't want that.
I didn't even consider the family element. My God.
I'm just saying, like, in some cases, there are links.
Okay.
So I don't know if it'll work as well.
Well, okay, Kirsten, you're here, of course, the expert veteran of so many hot dummies, so much mess. Could you give us your review real quick of couple to throuple?
Okay, well, I think that this show has all of the ingredients for greatness, as a lot of people that don't actually want the premise of the show. That's our core couples. And then we have all of the singles who think that the show's about them when it's not about them. So it's at least as good as Temptation Island, only it has a real therapist, except Marco Wahlberg. So I give it 4 stars.
Now, when you say the 4 couples don't actually want the premise of the show, what do you mean by that?
None of these people want a polyamorous relationship. They want to have a threesome. They want to have a lot of threesomes. They don't want a life partner.
Right.
None of them.
Because you would think that people that want to have a polyamorous relationship might just go have a polyamorous relationship and not have to go to the island to meet the sexy singles.
It's giving that they were joining dating apps looking for like women seeking women, and then it's both people in the couple like, hey, do you want to join? No one wants to join you.
The thing is that there are apps for this. There are ways to meet people that are interested in being in a polyamorous relationship. You do not need to do this on TV. And I just cannot imagine wanting to do this on TV.
Yeah.
Like,
but the show also is like the most monogamous version of polyamory. It's like you can experiment with one person at a time, joining your like, if this was actually going to be people in good faith experimenting with polyamory, there'd be like, oh, you know what, I'm getting to know this person and you're getting to know this person, oh, maybe we get to know this person like, it's just more complicated than that. These people are seeking a third to be their unicorn, which is super problematic, because the singles are whole people too. Like,
the singles don't get treated as whole people on the show.
At least 2 of them said they felt dehumanized in the first episode.
Great start. So,
Kirsten, are you saying that they don't have a swap ceremony in real life? That is an invention of couple to throuple?
This might blow your mind, Rob. None of this is what happens in real life.
That's not what happens. That you don't give any beads.
You
to
don't
the people?
stand up in the polyamory bar and say, "Okay, step forward if you want to date us."
Okay.
Yeah, that would not go over well in a bar. Do you imagine? You can imagine just being like, okay, if you want to come home with us tonight, please step forward. We got some beads for you. And you know what? If it doesn't work for us next week,
we'll swap you out.
We'll send you back.
Okay. Well, I did think that this was a pretty interesting show. Probably not my favorite show that I ever watched, but I definitely was. My interest was piqued here over 3 hours of from couple to throuple. I don't know if we needed 60-minute episodes each time out. I think we could have cut this down a little bit.
Yeah. I will say I both loved and hated this show. Like there were points where I was like, This is very interesting and has a lot of opportunities for drama and also just like learning about things. And then there were also moments where I was like, I'm so uncomfortable and I feel like I should not be witnessing this for many reasons. Like the emotional parts of it, the sexual parts of it, like there were straight up points where I was like, I am watching porn. Did not realize I was signing up for this in particular. There was a wet spot on the sheet that will haunt me forever.
Jenny, is your computer screen like a lot more high definition? Because I was able to not perceive at least the wet spot. Oh my god.
And this wasn't even watching it on 1X, Kirsten. I saw a wet spot on the sheet when they did the little montage at night on the first night when everyone was getting into it.
Did they have a black light, Jenny?
It wasn't a black light. It was a clear wet spot on the sheets, and I am traumatized. I did not sign up for this part.
Yes.
I want to go back to who I was before I knew about the wet spot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
which bed was it?
It was the bed of Ashile, Raman, and Jonathan.
Okay.
And
now, is it possible
there was
could one of the guys have maybe drooled during the night?
Were they?
There could have been
upside down in the bed.
There could have been
what were they doing?
Look, sometimes maybe you go head to toe first night you with strangers.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure there was at some point there was a. Am I misremembering? I hope that I'm not getting something incepted from another piece of media I've consumed
that you've watched recently,
where someone said I suck toes. Is that a different show?
I did not have that in my notes. Was that from Farmer Wants a Wife?
TikTok. I don't know, man.
I don't remember that part, but it's also very possible that my brain was protecting me. You know?
let's talk about our four couples. Okay.
I'm sorry to do that to you guys.
Let's welcome in. This is from TVinsider.com. They have photos and names of our cast of characters. Let's welcome in Britney, Babe, and Shawn.
Okay. I did not know these were their
that was their real
I'm learning
name.
more about them.
Britney and Shawn met at some time ago. That
going
Shawn
on
tells
4
us,
years.
Yeah, Shawn tells us that the first thing he noticed about Britney was, hey, she's got a fat ass.
Well, click on that Instagram link, Rob, and you'll see it.
I don't think I
got 2.2 million
I think that's
people
gonna be the end of our
YouTube
YouTube channel if I click on the link.
Yeah, they met at the club, which is exactly how everybody meets.
That's what they said. They meet, like we met how everyone meets at the club. I'm like,
and this do we know when this filmed?
So I think it did not film that long ago because there's lots of references to Ashile and Raman's relationship and how they started dating like before quarantine time. And then there's like references to like them being together for a few years. So if that math adds up, I think that at least sometime in the last year, I think is when this probably filmed.
Shawn and Britney also got together pretty close before quarantine.
Do we feel like that there's something to that? Like, is getting together, around the pandemic, is there something there here?
I don't know.
Where it was like, they haven't had time
to quarantine together and now you're bored with each other.
Yeah, they spent too much time together and now they're like, let's bring another person into our apartment.
Well, Jenny, didn't Phil move in right before the quarantine? So you would be the one who could tell us.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I realized that I had more to relate to on this show than I was prepared for. But not in my current relationship. But I definitely was like, I feel like I have pieces of wisdom here that I didn't even realize I had. So it was honestly an experience of learning and growth for myself too.
I love that for you.
And And that's what we do here on Hit or Quit, We're here to grow.
Yeah, Britney and Shawn, they are looking for a woman to join their
Did they say
couple.
that clearly? That's just because Shawn said he's
straight, Shawn was very clear about
I'm
a straight man.
Yeah. It did not seem like that they were looking for any men to join their group. They will end up having someone named a woman named Sanu join their group. It does not go great.
No, and Sanu
Spoiler.
actually is like, she calls herself a polyamorous coach. Like, she spends time educating people about polyamory because
she's the polyamory know-it-all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she probably has a podcast. Yeah, she probably does. I mean, most of these people are influencers.
Exciting woman around.
Yeah, and I think
she's about to break it down.
I thought you were going to say something about Pound Town.
Oh my god,
that would have worked as well, though. I'm just saying
it would have worked really well.
We can workshop it, Rog. It's
and yeah, and this is the couple where I think it's like very obvious that they simply want a threesome because when they like Shawn is so clear, I'm a straight man. And then when Britney is asked at the first like cocktail party, she's like, they're like, oh, like, are you bi? Are you? And she's like, oh, like I dabble. And it's, I don't know. It's a weird vibe. It's a weird vibe between the two of them.
My take on Britney and Shawn is that they are the most secure with each other, but I think that they are like the least interested in the long-term prospect of polyamory. So I agree with you, Kirsten, in that, like, and also it came out that like I don't even think they've had a threesome, which
they've like, just been approached by people that want them.
How do you jump from not ever experimenting with a third, even just for funsies, to being like, yes, I would like to potentially turn our relationship from 2 people to 3, which is a way bigger step than like a one night stand with another person.
So rather than like go through the show like chronologically, I think that like let's just like tell the story of what happened with this particular couple. So basically, there are sexy singles that they got to meet everybody, and then the couples got to pick who they wanted to join them. And so Britney and Shawn end up meeting a woman named Sanu to join them, and things start off going very well, but then they quickly end up going poorly because Sanu is not really excited to be, I guess, their first foray into polyamory.
Well, so Sanu spends a lot of time asking them really good and important questions that any couple that was actually interested in pursuing polyamory would have answers to about like where their boundaries like where their boundaries are going to be, what's okay with each of them, like what are they actually looking for. And Shawn and Britney don't have any answers to this, so they just kind of shut down. And then Sanu feels very shut out from the two of them, and she's one of those people who's like, oh, I feel something's wrong, I need to talk about it. And she keeps approaching them for conversations, and they keep stonewalling her. And the only time they actually are receptive is when she's like, you know what, I was trying to take control of this, and I was trying to like know everything, and that's my fault, so now you don't know the real me. And it's like, if they had any sense of their boundaries at the start of this, it wouldn't have gone down like that. She's like, you just like, you don't know what you want, so I wish you would pick someone else first.
Yeah, I mean, Sanu does have some street cred, as we see her Instagram handle here is Sanu the Poly Fairy.
I mean,
it says it right there.
She's telling us
when she goes to confront Shawn and Britney about how she is feeling not so great about how things are going, and maybe she has a point that she's feeling a little bit kind of like an object. She says that it's a little dehumanizing is the word that she uses. Shawn knows instantly that it's now over with Britney. He's like, she shouldn't have said that. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, Amanda doesn't like it when people get weird. So now Amanda's gonna be not Brittany. Who's Amanda?
Who's Amanda?
I don't know Amanda.
It's like a real who's muffin moment.
Brittany. There were a few moments where I started giving these people names of my own, and I was like, wait a second, his name's not David. That's Dylan. But so Brittany is like, no, you shouldn't have said that, and now I will not talk to you at all anymore.
She got
it was kind of horrible because then once you were with a couple and then the couple said it's over for you, then you were sort of just held captive of you're just well, I guess I'm stuck with these two people until I get released.
It worked both ways though, Rob, and we did find out that there are other beds. So the one concept of this show is that, and it's really kind of corny, that each couple has their own bedroom. It's big enough for 3 people. And then in the bedroom, because they go and do this little tour of everyone go see your bedroom. It wasn't like Big Brother where you get to pick your room. They had designated bedrooms, and how you knew which one was theirs there was a framed photo of the couple.
Yeah.
And then after the couples would pick their third, then also there would be a framed photo of just that person sitting beside them on the mantle. But we have learned from another couple, we will get to it, that there appear to be other beds in the villa. And that, so I at least we saw it go both ways, where sometimes the couple decides
the name of the game, Jenny.
Yeah, which is why I think the show is interesting, because when you have a bunch of people that are interested in all kinds of people, and there's not just one way that things can go, that's when things can get real interesting. Because, and I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface on how messy this can get, because
well, you did talk about the sheets, Jenny.
Though it got messy night 1, and I saw it, and you guys had to know about it because I thought everyone saw it. I don't know. But because the people that the singles, are there rules that they're not allowed to get interested in other singles?
Yeah, one of the best moments was when a bunch of the singles were like, "Hey, we're gonna get ratchet."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, it's giving a double shot at love with tequila in that way.
Whoa.
And maybe that's just what we need right now. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that Sanu clocked Britney and Shawn in that, she basically said, I wish you didn't pick me first, because I feel like you guys are still figuring out what you want and are experimenting. And I just feel like I'm kind of just an object in this experimentation. And, she maybe went a little hard with the words she used, but she kind of spoke some truth here. And I just loved that Shawn immediately was like, yeah, Brittany's not gonna like that. She's not emotions that you were representing here.
But Sanu was correct. She was 100% correct. And they
but if you want to stick with them, that's not going to work out for you for saying that.
It was just further, the second she said, "Hey, I feel like you're treating me like an object, and I don't feel like a human to you." And then they're like, "Okay, well, we're never talking to you anymore." Oh yeah, that way to treat her like a human being.
Yeah. But Kirsten, so what I didn't like was that the singles, it seemed like that they had no rights in these relationships. Once she got picked, she kind of was their person, and she had no way to dump the couple. And I feel like that I wish that there was a mechanism where when the single is feeling mistreated by the couple, maybe they have some way to be able to opt out, and as a penalty, then the couple gets the last pick in when they have to go back. Yeah.
Or it's hey, you know what? Take a cycle to be a couple again because you're not ready for a throuple.
Yeah. Or maybe the single gets to give at this swap ceremony, hey, I'm gonna air the dirty laundry out of why people shouldn't pick this couple. I get that the show is invested. Them. Yeah, that the show's invested in no, we need more thruples. But I just wish that there was some consequence where if you were not good to the person you picked and you treated them kind of in a rude way, that then they were able to get some payback on the couple.
But they get to go back to wherever the singles go. I have no idea. And I'm sure like Sanu is going, because that's the thing is like when they don't, when we get to our eventual swap or stay ceremony, is that what it's called? When someone gets basically dumped, they don't get dumped from the at least that's
they're back in the
they
pool.
They go back to the
they go back into the pool because they at least have the opportunity of potentially getting in the mix with another couple. So you have to know that Sanu is going back to like and the fact that Shawn and Britney also piss off another single in this 3-episode set in Peach, where like Sanu and Peach are going back to wherever they go, and Sanu is telling Peach everything and being like, you dodged a bullet with these two, like, so I think that there's, even if it's not happening
Singles
in a
talk.
structural way, well, and I want to see that too. Like, give us we're not learning about any of these other people. There are people that I'm like, who are they?
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another one of our couples that we spent a lot of time with here in week 1 of Couple to Thruple. Let's welcome in. It's Raman and Ashile.
And this to me is like just like I feel like they threw in one couple that was willing to have a man join them, because all of the like 3 straight couples are all just looking for another girl to join them, which is another, indicator to me that they're not really looking to explore polyamory in its truest sense. And even this one, that like this couple is willing to bring a man in, obviously, like they're 2 men in a relationship, but they're also like, we'd like to bring a woman in too. Like, it's just, it's such a weird dynamic on this show.
Yeah. Like this is the problem. And I don't know that this is the case for any of these couples. I'm not going to, infer about their health, the health of their relationship too much, but what happens in the
Vegas,
and I'm going to use the air quotes of ethical non-monogamy community is that some people act like that's what they want and that's what they're going to do, and it becomes a tool for inequality in a relationship and a very unhealthy power dynamic. And in a lot of cases it's like a man being like, okay, my girlfriend or my wife or whatever is bisexual, and I think it's hot to see 2 chicks hook up. And
we'll get to that couple later.
I know, I know.
We haven't talked about.
I know, but I'm just saying. But in a lot of cases, like that is done because it's not like that. That man is also always looking for it to be more about him and then not an equal thing. And I don't know if that's really the case with that particular couple, but that happens a lot where it's like, well, I get to make the rules and like I get more things than you do. But I do think it was, like you said, Kirsten, like this couple, it was kind of wild that we were also just like,
Wilder is a different couple.
Wilder is, but like, so they discuss their sexuality at the beginning, and Ashile says, I'm bisexual. Raman is the first guy that I've ever dated, and Raman says he's don't knock it till you try it sexual. So he's basically like saying, he's like, the way I took this was he's saying like, I'm pretty sure I'm just gay, but I'm maybe open-minded. And again, that made me worry that I'm like, they're not on the same page here, because he's like, I don't know, maybe I'm interested in the boob thing. And I'm like, this should not be the conversation you're having when you're already there.
Yeah. And it's Ashile in the confessional is like, oh, I can't, I would like to see him like deal with some boobs. And it's like,
yeah. This is not the place to work this through. Like, it's
what?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
So far, it seems that they're only dealing with men, but it's also not going well.
Yeah, it's not going well. Okay, so they're going to make their pick, and they meet this pretty nice guy. His name is Jonathan, and Jonathan is gonna be in for a dramatic week.
Poor
is Jonathan
Jonathan.
or is he just like a lawyer? I'm seeing like you see the
Laws,
scales?
scales of
he has
justice.
the scales of justice.
Yeah. So I'm just like
Interesting.
trying to figure out. Here's the thing. I didn't get to learn a lot about Jonathan. I think Jonathan it got the rawest deal of this whole cast here. Like
Yeah.
this poor man.
Yeah, so just to set this up, so there's one of the things that they do, and Kirsten, I feel like this is giving like too hot to handle, that we also do learning. We have a instructor here who is working with the couples, and I want to mention her name is Shamira.
Yeah, Shamira, I believe. Yeah.
And she's an actual therapist, which is
Sure.
good, because like on Too Hot to Handle, they're like, oh yeah, this is a sex and relationships expert. And you're like,
it's like a yoga teacher.
And today you're gonna learn how to paint.
Yeah.
With
today,
your boobs.
yeah, we're gonna make a house out of popsicle sticks.
We're gonna get that mirror and look at our yonis.
Yeah. All right. So they do an exercise, a trust exercise. Okay, what is your partner comfortable with? Like you say your safe word if you need to say that your boundaries have been pushed. One of the couple's safe words is Scott.
Who's the host
Yeah,
of
who's
the
the
show?
host? Yeah, so I guess that we didn't get the scene of them picking their safe words, which I wish we had, because like how they landed on Scott would be very funny.
Yes.
And then I have to assume that Jonathan is a lawyer too, because he probably was really on board with objection being
objection was the safe word for
I think one of them was a lawyer. I just can't remember which. So maybe it's Ashile, because there's lots of talk about how Ashile and Jonathan are really bonding. So maybe they have the lawyer thing in common too.
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
They had a couple things in common. Okay. So Ashile and Raman, and that they are in doing this exercise. And so I believe it's Ashile and Jonathan are about to kiss. And Ashile, I believe, is blindfolded during this. And he tells us a number of times that Ashile and Raman, their bond is so strong that even while blindfolded, he knew Raman was getting pissed. I think I too would be able to if I was wearing the blindfold. I think I could tell if Nicole was getting angry, even while wearing the blindfold.
And this is where it's like they're just simply not ready for anything like this, because Raman should be saying the safe word because he's not comfortable with what's happening, and it's ending up with Ashile being like, I think maybe he's not okay, so now I'm gonna say it myself. But like, Raman should have said it the minute he felt uncomfortable.
But why did
then
he
you
wait
can like
so
talk
long?
about it.
Why did he wait?
Because Raman should be the one saying it. Like it shouldn't be on one person to be a mind reader who instantly knows everything that their partner is good or not good with, especially when like these couples are dipping their toes into something that they have not really done before. Maybe toes. We actually don't know about the toes or not.
I don't know where I got that from.
That could be fake in Jenny's brain. We don't know. And so it's one of those things where everyone needs to be super open about how they're feeling. Everyone needs to be really honest with each other. And you can't get mad at someone for not reading your mind and doing exactly what they wanted you to do, especially in a situation where you have a safe word. Like, just say the safe word, and then it never gets that deep.
Well, especially because, they and this is another part of the whole experiment, as they keep calling it, that made me uncomfortable, is the fact that they're also doing these like tests as like a group in front of all of each other. And like, it would be one thing if it was like just the expert and like the three of us that are like trying to like work on thing in like our own situation. But then like, there's also like a bunch of other people like at the same time, like, it's like the weirdest group therapy situation that but the thing is that because they're doing it this way, they have already seen the other couples and how this is going down. And it's like the point of the safe word is for the the person that's designated to sit back and trust and watch or whatever, it seemed pretty clear to me that they're the person that's supposed to say the safe word. And so for Raman to be like saying absolutely nothing and have to leave it up to Ashile, who had, you know, the ability to sense that it was like, okay, he's not going to say it, so I need to cut it off here. And then he still gets in trouble for like letting it go on as long as it did. It's like, yeah, did you see the other couples? Like Corey was like, before things even started at one of the stages, was piping up and saying, Scott.
Well, and that's a really good point, Jenny, like because I think Raman kind of says at one point, like, he doesn't want to be seen as a baby who can't handle polyamory. And I think that he's like trying not to use the safe word so that he's not perceived a certain way because of everyone being there. So I think that's really smart.
So maybe it would be different in a group, and he feels like, you know, he's looking at all these like other cool like couples that are like so comfortable in their relationship and stuff, and he's like feeling insecure about it. So I don't know.
That's it. After this, Raman is not talking to Ashile or Jonathan for days.
This was so uncomfortable because Ashmel's like, can you please talk to me? Like, things feel off. Can you tell me what's wrong? And Ramon's like, I'm fine. You're not fine. We can tell you're not fine. And then like they finally talk about it, and you can see kind of a light bulb going off in Ramon's head where he's like, oh, maybe I was wrong. But also he felt that way. Like the way Ashile approached that was like a little manipulative and guilt trippy as well. So it just I didn't love the dynamic there. And then he's like, well, I have a hard time apologizing, so it's gonna be a couple days before I'm ready, so I will just say nothing.
Yeah. And poor Jonathan. Poor Jonathan.
And he's in the middle of all of it.
He's like, this is very awkward for me.
He's like, if this was the outside, I wouldn't put up with it.
I would have left. I would have left. I would have called an Uber if this was happening in real life. This is very awkward.
There's no Uber at this villa.
No Uber. But Jenny, there's like a little bit of a thawing, because then we get from Jonathan, and he's like, actually, I think I'm more attracted to Raman. And they have and I think that was a good icebreaker for Jonathan. And it seems like, okay, they have patched things up. They've worked past this. And I finished watching this right before we came on. The ultimate blindside of the entire show happens at the end that we get the stay or swap ceremony. We've been to hell and back with Jonathan. We worked it all out. Everything's good. Jonathan actually is more attracted to Raman than Ashile. And then Ashile and Raman, what are you doing? We'd like to switch. What?
And the look on poor Jonathan's face, like they definitely didn't communicate that with him ahead of time.
It's absolutely wild. Again, not wilder. That because we saw, you know, Ashile and Raman have positive conversations about like being like, you know, I feel like you're policing how I'm feeling, and you know, they have some productive conversations. And then obviously we have the conversation with Jonathan and Raman where, you know, now Raman feels included a little bit more because a lot of the insecurity came from feeling like, you know, it was just Ashile and Jonathan bonding, and he was kind of on the outside. So it's like, and then we see them have this little brunch on the beach, and they're talking about like, oh, I could see us in our apartment in Chicago with the short shorts. And it's like, but then when we have the little montage before the stay or swap ceremony, and all the couples are kind of discussing like what their decision might be, we get a little like, you know, a little preview of what might be going on. They're like, okay, I feel like we're in a really good place now. Like I'm feeling so much better about things with Jonathan. And like, I wish that we could prolong the ceremony just even another day, because I feel like we just got to a place where we can start like being comfortable with each other again. And but I can't remember who said it, but they're like, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm kind of just like curious about like what else is there, but like, what if Jonathan like finds like, what if we let him go and he gets in with somebody else? It's like the power dynamic is so toxic.
Who will Jonathan find?
I don't know.
I want to say too, Jenny, like there's the point where Ashmal and Raman have a conversation and Raman's like, I don't want you policing my behavior. And it's like, no, Ashmal said, when we're trying to talk to you, can you please look at us and have manners? That's not policing anyone's behavior. It's like you actually do owe people common courtesy. I don't know what to tell you.
This is a couple that needed to do a lot of work outside of the whole polyamory piece. Like there so much of their argument is about how they have poor communication, and that, like, you know, one of them is like, let's talk about this, and the other one is like, bye, I need to not look at you for 3 days before I can I'm not comfortable being vulnerable and sharing my feelings. I'm like, you want to bring a third person into this mess? This is a good idea. Like, what?
Like, do they think a third will save it?
The night that it was Becca and Jonathan and Sanu, that they were just like, oh my God, thank God the horrible couples have all left for the night. We can finally relax.
Honestly, I could see something between Jonathan and Becca even.
This is and that's what I'm saying, because what are the rules here? Because, like, who says that all the people that are not in a currently active throuple can't be looking at other like-minded people that are also there?
Them with the hose.
I'm curious if they're being
this is not allowed,
like sequestered from each other or not, because they might be. And then it's like the next level of gameplay is where, like, okay, I'm kind of interested in this other single. We need to both get picked so we can hang out at the resort.
It's like edging.
Go back where there's no airtime.
They're like all just getting to like see each other at these ceremonies and then being like, okay, like at some point we're gonna get to mingle. Like, I'm not interested in any of these couples. I'm interested in you know, this drink of water over here. But I just thought it was wild that they said, well, what if we trade in Jonathan and then he finds somebody else? It's like, they're so transparent about the fact that they're like, I would like to put this on hold and go back to it if I can't find something better, which is like such a messed up way to like talk about a literal human.
Well, don't say dehumanizing, Jenny. We'll get the ick.
No, I know. Brittany would
never say dehumanizing.
Yeah, that gives me the ick too if somebody says I'm dehumanizing them.
I think it gives me the ick if someone tries to dehumanize me, but
that as well. Yeah.
Let's talk about our third couple of the four. I feel like the panel is going to have a lot to say about Dylan and Lauren.
So
they are bodybuilders.
Yeah, they're both like fitness people, bodybuilders. Dylan and Lauren have been together 7 years, married for 2 years, and about a year before this filmed, they had their first threesome, and it brought them closer together. So they want to explore more, which to me is the whole problem. They don't actually want a throuple. They want to use a third person to tighten their couple up, right? Like, I don't think they want a partner. It's very weird to me that they're like, we want to explore polyamory, but only if someone is equally dating both of us. No one can have a preference for one of us. They have to like us both the same. Like, it's
and it's never
weird.
Gonna be that way. It's never, and especially because it's like, and that's why I think it can be such a challenging thing, especially if you're doing ethical non-monogamy this way, where it's like just 3 people, and then the one, like, there's 2 people that are way more established in a relationship together, and then the other person is the third, where it's like, it's so hard to find balance in a relationship with 2 people, and you add a third, it's like it's going to become even more complicated. You might be able to find balance in terms of like, okay, well, like, me and this person have a lot more physical chemistry, but this person and that person, you know, have a lot more of a connection on an emotional level or whatever. But I think that these 2 are just like, I think they're really interested in the sexual part of it. Like solely in a lot of cases. I mean, we saw that got right to it on the first night. It was not the wet spot though. And they think that it needs to be so equal, and it's like, I just want to shake Lauren and be like, you could have had it all, girl. And you let this man win, and I hate it.
Well, they're gonna pick a woman. Her name is Becca.
Yeah.
And they're very excited to bring Becca into the fold. It goes bad very quickly. And Becca gets a hate into Dylan, it seems, very quickly also.
And she's right. Like when she says,
This is
"Oh,
Becca.
he just wants to be a big macho man with 2 hot women on his arm," I was like, "Yes, that is exactly what he wants. I can feel it in my soul. I can tell from how he talks to everyone." Like, they had their threesome, and everything we hear about it is that Lauren and Becca had a much better connection than Becca did with Dylan. And the very next day in the morning, Dylan's like, "Yeah, I don't know, something's off," because he's mad that it wasn't all about him.
But he's never been jealous, Kirsten.
He's he's never experienced jealousy before. What a
Yeah.
loser.
No, well, he
Shut
did
up.
come by the end of it. He did come around
Well,
and say
but
that he
like
was.
barely.
they had to really pull that out of him, and then he's
Yeah.
like just realized he's experienced jealousy ever in his life, and he's thinking like today's the only time he's ever been jealous.
And that's
like,
it.
you know what? Time to move on. Let me burn the card. I don't have any more work to do on that.
Mhm.
The burning of the jealousy things, though, like, was so funny because that didn't even end up working in the right way, because the point of the exercise where the couples were supposed to write something that, you know, an experience of jealousy or what makes them jealous. And this man with his full chest says, "I don't think I have experienced jealousy," and writes this on his card. And poor Shamira has to read this and be like, this bitch is not taking this seriously. And like, what do you mean you've never been? Oh, you're just the most secure man ever. I can tell. And then he goes through and he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess maybe that feeling I felt with you and Jess was jealousy. Well, I'm so glad I got that out and I'm over it, and I will never feel jealousy again. So I'm going to put this in the fire." But the point of the putting the thing in the fire was like when you'd say like, "Oh, like emotionally connecting with another person." It's like, you know what? That feeling of jealousy, I'm going to put it in the fire. I'm done with it. He put the feeling of not feeling jealous into the fire, but he thinks that that's him saying, "I'm never going to be jealous again." And it
But he
literally
also
means the
thinks
opposite.
he's never been jealous before.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's like when you say like, "I could care less." It's like, no, it's the opposite is what you mean there.
Oh, one of my biggest pet peeves.
That's what he's doing. He's like, "I've never been jealous, so I will put that in the fire." And it's like, well, you're putting the admission that you've never been jealous into the fire. So you're actually accepting the fact that you will be jealous again, which is the truth, but he doesn't think of it that way.
I do think it's like, what was he supposed to write a new card that was like, "Actually, I have been jealous before," and then burn that? Then what does he do with the other card?
They should have been like, "Bro, you're not doing this exercise properly. Can you take it serious?" Like Shamira should have been like, I wanted her to like hit him with the cue card, like
Marcellus?
Julie in Marcellus. Exactly. That's what I was envisioning, being like, "What are you doing here? Like, get out of my session."
So Dylan, he was over Becca pretty quickly. Becca realized it. She did not even sleep in the room with him. Dylan is moving on to greener pastures because there is another woman that is the new object of Dylan and I guess Lauren's affection. Enter Mia.
Yes.
And Mia is all about energy and vibes. She's vibing.
So they do this like they have like a party the one night, and so I don't know how they established this, but they brought only the couple's second choice. I don't know, like they must have off camera discussed with production like who their second choice was. Yeah. And then they brought these people to the party to like hang out, and then they were like able to like give them beads to be like, "Hey, I like your vibe. Like, I'd like to talk to you more." And so it became evident. I think Becca was already out on Dylan. I think Becca decided she was not feeling Dylan before Dylan even had an opinion on it.
They had their dinner, and Lauren,
yeah,
and Dylan were like very openly talking about all the other people they want to talk with and connect with right in front of Becca, and she was like, okay, they do not pass the vibe check, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so and then once Becca sees them around Mia and they're talking about like how into Mia and like, oh, we're gonna be friends no matter what, like we're gonna go to festivals together, and Becca's like, this is not worth it to me, like I don't even like this man. They're clearly interested in other people, so I am like not even a priority here, and she's already like cutting her losses.
I'm out.
But I will just say, like, this is why it is an interesting show, because the singles also can be experiencing like their own jealousy and being like, I don't want this, like it's not there's no like rule where they have to like both people in the couple. And so it kind of makes it complicated for them to be like, do I stick with this because I'm interested in the one person? Like, do you think that if they hadn't been showing this clear attention to Mia that did make Becca kind of jealous, do you think that there was a chance that Becca would have just like grinned and bared it with Dylan because she does seem interested in Lauren?
I think if the show was actually exploring polyamory in an honest way, she would absolutely want to stick around to explore things with Lauren, because you don't have to like your partner's other partner. You like that's not a necessity of,
but that's not couple to throuple,
a polyamorous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really are making this show about like the unicorn, which is really not. I don't think that will be well received by the polyamorous community.
No. Yeah, I want to know. Like, I actually think we need to see the feedback of people that actually that this is their life, and you know what they have to say about this show. But
yeah, I think maybe the show might be more interesting to see it from the perspective of the singles. Like, I feel like it's very much from the perspective of the couples trying to add the third.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about, we have one other couple to talk about. It's Wilder and Corey. It took me until about the second episode to realize that Wilder was the guy and Corey is the girl.
Now, do you think that that's his government name?
I don't think so.
Is it like Van Wilder? Like, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think he wishes he was like Van Wilder.
Yeah, although his Instagram calls him Wilder Rush. Wilder Rush is what they call him.
None of that sounds real.
Those are no. I need to get this off my chest. Can you show us their picture?
Oh, sure.
Can you put up Wilder and Corey's picture? This man gives the most vile, musty vibes. I can't, like, the thing is you see him and you see his little blonde mustache. Also, a lot of the men in the couples on the show have questionable facial hair, but you see him in his little Hawaiian shirt with his little mustache, and you know that his little Bumble profile is like, ENM looking for something new. And it's like, does your girlfriend know? Does your girlfriend know you're here? Because I don't think she knows.
Yeah.
I need to speak on this. I need to speak my truth.
Okay.
It's a very vulnerable moment for me right now.
I'm so scared.
There's something there. There's something there. But also I feel like I was Denise, except for with a couple just like Wilder and Corey, but in a different way, not in a throuple way. And then Kirsten, exactly what you just said, where I'm like, does your girlfriend know?
It's because that's what a lot of trashy dudes on these apps go on and say, I'm ethically non-monogamous. And it's just because they have a girlfriend and they want to date again. And if you find out about the girlfriend, they don't want you to be mad. And they don't want you to like contact the girlfriend and be like, hey, did you know what your guy's been doing? So they want you to think it's okay that they are seeing you and they have a girlfriend.
I have lots of information to feel that that was actually not the case, and this was a ethical non-monogamous couple that was doing it the way where they date other people separately. But they gave these two vibes big time, like almost to the point where I'm like, is that him?
Wow. Okay.
And he stole my photo pose. How dare he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But I wasn't expecting, Kirsten, you to come in hotter for Wilder than Dylan.
Oh, Dylan sucks. And it's clear that Dylan sucks, so you don't need to give as much of a warning. But I feel like Wilder is a much more insidious way of sucking that like everyone needs to be aware of and warned about.
Okay.
See, and so then this is maybe how I get tricked, because I think like aesthetically, like not my type, but I'm like I see it with Wilder. You know what I mean? I feel really like terrible bleached hair. Maybe, I don't know.
On paper, when you see Wilder and Corey and a little bit of their conversation, you're like, okay, like this couple might be the one that actually wants to pursue actual polyamory.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem to be just about sex to them.
But it also is like, I think that Wilder is playing the long game because it maybe is just about sex for him, but he really wants Corey to be on board. And I think Corey really wants to be on board so that he doesn't leave, is the vibe I get.
Oh, I hope not.
And I hope not.
I want to protect Corey with all my heart. I just want to.
I want to wrap her in a blanket.
Their story is all about that, Wilder is very okay with everything that's happening here. Corey wants to go at her pace. In the past, Wilder has gone at a faster pace with other people when she's not in the room. It's a very big deal for her. It's almost like not even worth talking about their third person, because she's basically like not a part of the story. Denise with a Y.
Yeah. Well, and the story about the past experience, I think, is very chilling, because Wilder and Corey decided they were going to, hang out with another woman, see what happens, and they're having a good time. And then the minute Corey leaves the room, she comes back and they're making out. And she's like, whoa, you just needed me to leave the room? Like, I don't understand. And I'm like,
we didn't find out how long she was gone for.
Run. No, girl, run.
He said she used the bathroom and she washed her hands. I don't know.
It doesn't take that long.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like that these two actually seem to be the most healthy communicators of all of the couples, where I think that, it's clear that Wilder has effed up the most in the past, but they have at least tried this. They have at least had conversations clearly. Like, I do think that, the fact that Wilder has like made mistakes, and it's not wildly talked about, is a little concerning, but they are at least talking about it. And he does, seem very attentive to Corey and her feelings. So do I think that it's 100% everything's good and there's not going to be any hiccups? Not necessarily. But some of these people don't even know how to have any sort of conflict.
Yeah. And the bar is extremely
so that is what
low.
I will say about these two, is that they at least seem to have some care and respect for each other and know how to talk to each other.
Yeah. And I will say, in fairness to Wilder and Corey, they're the only people that don't get rid of their third. They're the only people that don't dump their third at the final ceremony. And everybody is like, oh my God, you two are the model of thrupling.
Yeah, because they're also the only couple that like didn't bang on the first night and said like, okay, if the point of this was not just, the show isn't just hey, who wants to have a threesome? And it's about actually going couple to thruple. They are, they are taking it slow. They are making sure everyone's comfortable. They are, checking in on boundaries. And it seems like Denise is happy. Like, we at least get some confessionals from her. She's thrilled. The other thing about Corey and Wilder is like, everyone wants them. It seems like a lot of the other singles are like interested.
Yeah, because they're the only ones that the Denise isn't going like, oh my God, they're horrible.
Yeah. But also I think that some of them just want, like, I'm pretty sure was it Becca that was like, I wanna hook up with that couple. Because I'm just saying, look out for Becca.
Well, because Becca was there and she saw
Denise
them
with a Y.
Yeah. Denise is very pretty. She seems very lovely. And she seems happy. So I'm like, okay, that's good. I don't really know how she's feeling about things besides she says
she got the least airtime out of anybody that was in a any part of a throuple.
Yeah, because she was just kind of being chill.
Yeah. If they like it, I love it for them. But I'm worried. I think maybe Corey might need to stand up a little bit.
I mean,
and I'm just a little worried.
But she did what Raman did not do, which is what she before there was even an option for Wilder and Denise to kiss. She said, Scott, so she is actually asserting her boundaries
because they've at least explored polyamory in the past, so she knew that it would be a problem for her. Whereas with Raman and Ashile, they've sexually had, I guess, threesomes and foursomes is what they say in this batch, but they've never tried to connect emotionally, so it's probably just never been a thing where they would know that this could be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the swapping ceremony, the stayer swap ceremony at the end of episode 3, we get the bombshell where that Jonathan got dumped. We get a super tease for next week where there are more couples coming in.
One couple, it seems, at least one new couple that,
and they seem wild. No, Wilder.
Yeah.
Well,
look
was
out,
it a
Wilder.
man and a woman? Why that I didn't catch it in the.
I'm
pretty sure.
Yeah. And it looks like they're there to shake things up. Yeah. So here's the thing: the way that the episode got cut off with the cliffhanger, because with the other couples, we see Shawn and Britney swap out, and they call over Darian, and Peach is upset because they gave attention to Peach, and Peach thought she was gonna be picked. Blah blah blah.
Peach,
so we saw what the other we saw what the other couples' choices were. We saw Mia get picked, obviously. We didn't actually see what Ashile and Raman are doing. Yeah. They just said, we think we're going to change things up. And for a second, I was like, are they leaving? Because in the preview, there were a few shots where I didn't see them. And so I was like, did they say, we've realized that, we've grown a lot in the last couple of days from the conversations we've had, and we've realized that while this is something we're maybe open to in the future, that we're maybe not ready yet, and it's not fair to someone like Jonathan or anyone else for us to be doing it this way, and we're gonna leave.
Hey, now, or maybe they're asking Jonathan to leave with them.
Oh, that's an entirely other thing. But I do think I saw a scene where they're like at some sort of party, and they're all wearing it's like Adam and Eve, Greek green stuff around the head thing. And I think I saw them in one of those shots. So I think that debunked my theory that there was a chance that they actually just leave, and that's what they mean by like changing things up. But I was like, that would be a twist, because like, why wouldn't you show us? Is it really? Because who are they going to pick? The only other person they've talked about is Junior. So why wouldn't they just show us who they're picking if that's what they're doing?
Yeah, I think I do think it could be interesting. Obviously, there's no incentive for the singles to do this, but if a couple is like, we want to swap, and they're like, okay, who is interested and no one steps forward? Like, what happens then? And what then?
Obviously, like, okay, I guess you're
someone will always step forward because the singles are gonna want time on the show and to like interact with other people more. But like,
yeah,
I want to know, would it happen? What would happen?
Yeah. It could happen later once all the the word of people being toxic gets around the
so
the water
Junior,
cooler.
another person who could get picked. Junior, it says here his Instagram handle is at the Living Kendall.
Okay.
I mean, they were saying they were calling him a tree that they wanted to climb. So, I mean, sure.
What about Thor?
Thor. I don't think anyone wants Thor. I think he came on too strong. You know what I mean? He just came out there
talking about his hammer.
Yeah,
I think he was stuffing.
I don't think he talked about it.
I'm gonna say it right now. I think he was stuffing.
I just don't. I just don't trust this archetype anymore. I'm sorry. I've been wronged. I've been wronged by the surfer dude with the long hair, beachy guy too many times on reality TV. It's not a good thing.
Okay.
I don't trust him.
Chris is a Hufflepuff, by the way.
He had to tell us. And if he had to tell us, that almost makes me think.
Okay. Kirsten, where do you think we go from here on Couple to Thruple?
I mean, it's not going to be that many episodes, right? We think it's the 3 batches and then the finale. So I think we're going to get more of the same, but I think that they're going to rotate in new couples, and I think they're going to rotate in new singles. And I think that there will probably be some sort of mechanism where a couple can be removed from the island or singles can be removed from the island. And we'll see how they do it, but I think that would be fun.
Well, the other thing is like, okay, this isn't a game. There's no game mechanism, like as far as I understand. Like there hasn't been any sort of thing like, and then the couple that does ethical non-monogamy the best, like walks away with 100K at the end. Like,
but that's like Temptation Island, where like there's no prize, but they still. More likely with the singles than the couples, they're like, these people are not connecting with anyone, send them home, like get them out of here.
Yeah, I think that there should be some sort of mechanism like that, because like how many times are we going to see these singles and I'm going to be like, they haven't even shown us these people, so at no point are they're not getting picked, right? But what happens if and again I'm talking about like, hey, maybe the singles can like be looking at each other, because it's like these people are only interested in dating couples that are already established. I don't think that's necessarily the case.
I highly doubt that the singles were given an honest picture of the show that they were going on. And because again, it's like, what, like a lot of people go on these shows for social media clout, and it's like obviously no one is getting social media clout for this. It's not happening. So
I mean, Britney must have already had the 2.2 million followers.
And did she buy them? We don't know.
I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, what could they not make a new throuple? What if Jonathan and Becca and Peach are like, screw these people?
And maybe these singles only like to join existing couples.
Can you imagine, like, Jonathan and Becca form a tight bond, and they're like, you know what? Hey, actually, production, we're boyfriend and girlfriend now. Can we go to the resort and start dating thirds together?
Hey. And you know what? They might end up being a healthier couple than most.
They would certainly be the best at polyamory.
Yeah, I think that the production does want the people to be crying and upset and jealous. I think that's a big part of the show. So you have 2 new people get together, and then or 3 new people get together. You're not getting that fighting and not talking to each other.
I mean, if they take Peach, Shawn and Britney might be mad.
And I mean, we're gonna see, like, I think that we have to be prepared for the fact that, at some point, one of these couples is going to pick someone that has already previously been around some of these other couples. And it's like, oh, I'm looking at them in a different way now. Like, I miss them because I see them with this other couple.
Yeah.
Like, we know it's that if that's part of, the point, and it's not like when you get swapped out that you leave the show entirely, then that's what they're trying to like get us ready for, is that
100%.
like people are going to go to a different couple at some point. So yeah.
Well, I think we did a very good job breaking down 3 hours of couple to thruple.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kirsten, we handled this very maturely, right?
I think so.
Oh yeah.
More
Yeah.
maturely than anyone on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's not something that we always do here on Hit or Quit. Is
thankfully,
handle
all three of us are so familiar with like podcast non-monogamy that I think that it just worked really well.
We've all got dabbled with different co-hosts. Yep. That's true. That's true.
I mean,
we're like the
Sanoos. Pretty similar.
Yes. Literally.
Yes. For sure. Okay. All right.
I feel like we all respect each other a lot here. It's been good.
Yes.
It's been healthy.
Kirsten, are you gonna continue on with this next week? Are you gonna keep watching?
I'm probably gonna keep watching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious.
Yeah, Jenny's gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. We're watching it.
I'm very curious how this plays out.
The real question is, Rob, will you be there?
But
you watch it on 1.5, and it's not nearly 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. Still a lot. We'll see.
Let's see.
Let me. You know what? Let me get the recommendation on whether or not week 2 can keep up with this. All right. Kirsten, in the meantime, what else are you working on these days?
Yes, so this week I guested on the 90 Day Fiancé wrap up with Puya, which was really fun. And Sasha and I, as per usual, have Mess Magnets, where we talk about pop culture, celeb gossip, trending topics. We talked about the Grammys a lot this week, and it was a really fun episode. And Tuca and Bird Pod is releasing the season 3 finally, so you could check that out as well. And you can follow me everywhere at Kirsten Said What.
Okay. Great job here today. Thank you for helping us break down couple to thruple.
Thanks so
Jenny,
much for
what's coming
having
up for you?
Nothing.
Oh.
There's some things coming down the pipe.
Some exciting stuff.
I'm looking at the horizon, but I'm not giving it away too much too soon. But Rob, one thing is for sure. Sometimes we're going to bring in a third, we're going to dabble here, but our podcast relationship is so strong that I know no matter what new show is coming around, you and I will be here to hit or quit, and I feel good about that. So I'm not worried about what's next. I'm worried. I'm very focused on what's happening right here, right now, in this beautiful moment, in this beautiful podcast that we did together.
Did you rename the podcast Stay or Swap?
Oh no. It's the same concept.
Basically. Yeah.
We are the stay or swap of podcasting. So you can follow me on social media at Jenny Autumn, but keep your eyes out for what's next with Hit or Quit, and I will in the very least be looking to see what couple to thruple throws at us. Also, there's some show about quiz balls. Sam Moore tweeted about it. I have no idea when this comes out, but you best believe that I will at least make Rob podcast one episode.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
It's like the floor with balls. I don't know.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
I'm listening.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us here on Hit or Quit. Once again, check out everything else we have going on RHAPisawebsite.com. And when you subscribe at RHAPisawebsite.com/subscribe. Thank you for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.